everybody, follow me as I try to make a lobster bisque today. Editing Soya here. I just wanted to come on and mention that the recipe that my bisque is loosely based off of is going to be linked in the description box. There are two major differences between that recipe and my bisque. First of all, my bisque does not contain any alcohol because I don't consume alcohol. Second of all, I didn't use any measurements because I don't like to conform to standard measurement units. Ha ha ha. Quirky me. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue, I guess. Okay, so the first step is wash your lobster tails. This is what we're doing right now. And then start by boiling some water, about 4 liters of water, since I have 4 lobster tails and it's 1 liter water per lobster tail. You can use fresh lobster tails, but I'm using frozen ones, so let's move on to veggies. So these are the veggies I'm using. I'm using 2 3/4 of a celery, half a pepper, half a carrot, like 1/4 of a cauliflower. I'm using about half of this box, like half, I would say, of this tomato paste, and 2 onions. Okay, now that our water is boiled, we'll want to put our lobster in it. Let me just switch hands real quick. I'll put it in here. 1, 2, 3 and 4, I guess. No. Okay, they'll separate eventually. And you want the shells to turn like really bright red, like super bright red. They're almost there. It's almost there. And float to around the top, and then you remove it. Okay, so the lobsters are done, and I just removed them. It's pretty easy to cook in general. Look at how red they are. So what you're gonna do is, after they cool down for a second, you're just gonna want to like take this water that's in here, all that good stuff, about half of it, and then put the shells back in so it steeps into the water, and then add some, some veggie stock. It's a really important step. Okay, so now that we've taken out the meat, this is how much we get, which is not substantial, but whatever. We put back the shells into the water that we reserved from earlier, and we let that just steep like tea. Yes, lobster tea. It kind of sounds funny, but anyways, that's that. And we kind of boil it. Okay, and then what we did is we poured about half a bottle of veggie stock into all these veggies and let them just boil on medium to high heat. The spices I used this garlic and herb spice, paprika, and tarragon. Fun fact about tarragon, did you know it's about $61 per pound of tarragon? It's pretty cool. Anyways, oh, the paprika is Spanish, by the way. There's also Hungarian paprika. I don't know what's the difference. I added these spices to the broth and veggie thing. Yeah, so it gets infused well. I didn't put extra salt because the broth has enough salt, you know? We're not trying to get hypertension. Okay, so this is what we're doing so far. We cut some onions and we're now sauteing them a little bit in some oil and some spices. The same mix as earlier with some peppers. We're gonna add tomato sauce in there after they brown a little bit more. Oh, and this is done on kind of medium-low heat. Okay, so then we have our water that we boiled our lobster in, and you put it in the big vat where there was the vegetables. I'm just gonna leave that just here. We're gonna use that later. And now we have our veggies. So once we're done cooking this with the tomato sauce, we're gonna blend these veggies. Then we're just gonna dump it in there and like mix it up a little bit. Okay, good. Okay, we've added our tomatoes. Sorry for the noise, I need to use the fan because it's getting kind of hot in here. So then pour some, well, I bought whipping cream by mistake, but you have to pour some table cream or heavy cream in general. Pour some in there just to soften up the taste. Okay, So now that I've pureed my vegetables, I'm gonna add this puree into this mixture of cream, tomato sauce, onions, and spices that I'm letting simmer right now. And then we're gonna let this simmer a little bit. So then we're gonna make use of our lobster tea. And I'm gonna make use of the lobster tea. You're not cooking. I'm gonna make use of this lobster tea and take some of this water and pour it into here. And then at the same time, we're gonna take some of this water and mix it with about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And then we're just gonna pour everything back into here and add some spinach and let it simmer a little bit more, like cook a little bit more and simmer. And then we're gonna go to prepare the lobster, which we haven't, like the lobster meat, which we haven't like touched at all now. And we're gonna make something really buttery and decadent with it. Okay, once your soup starts looking like this, everything's mixed in. The slurry we made with cornstarch and the lobster tea, and then the veggies and all that. You can add some spinach just for some added use. I like spinach, so I added it. And then you just mix that bad boy in. It's gonna get lost in the soup anyways, but whatever. Because spinach is such a sad veggie, such a water. Like, I know it's because it has a high water content and everything, but like it shrivels up like a raisin. And that's just sad. Anyways, now we're done with the soup. We just turn off the heat, cover it, and just let it do its thing like this. And we're gonna go prepare the lobster meat. Finally, to cook the lobster, I'm gonna make an herb butter, which is basically you melt butter on medium heat on a pan. You add some oregano, some salt, some pepper, and some tarragon in there. And then you're just gonna dump your lobster meat and cook it for about 5 minutes. Yay! Now it's time for plating and eating. We're gonna take some of the lobster meat that we cooked, add it into the soup. Technically it's supposed to float, but who cares? Here we go. And then we're waiting on our bread to heat up. Bread is heated up, so now for the moment of truth. Very savory soup. This is how it looks like all together. Yeah. And the bread, the soup. It's like a spoon of soup with some meat. Some meat. Not sure. Super good. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.